So I've got a lot of 90-degree bends to put into these panels that I've made. It's all fairly straight 90s. A lot of them very tight as well. My big sheet metal bender won't do anything tight enough to get these right. And it's going to be a bit awkward because it's when you start folding things around, I need a press brake really. So what I've decided to do is just make one. You can buy them, they're fairly reasonable money, but I can't be bothered waiting, and it's just a few chunks of metal, so I'm going to make one. And the design I've settled on is 3 bits of angle, 2 of them slightly longer than the vice jaws, one I've done slightly less, it doesn't have to be, it could overhang if you wanted, but that'll be the female press. And these 2 will sit over the vice jaws, that welds on that. And then on the other one, I'll have this on, which I'm going to sharpen to a bit of a point. I've done 4 squares to weld on the end. I'm going to weld them inside so that I don't have a weld on the... Well, it's not even the pressing face, is it? But maybe I'll cut them a bit shorter. But it doesn't matter. Just look a bit neater, square on the end. But then you'll see the weld, so... Either way, I'll probably just weld them on the end. And 2 of them drilled and soon to be tapped to circa 6mm bolts. The end plates are just to hold it in the vice because hanging that off it would just flop out. I have an end plate on each end and a bolt in one. I'll just screw it up, it'll just pull it up on the other side and hold it reasonably solid. It probably doesn't need to be as thick as this, you could probably get away with 3mm instead of the 5mm. That needs to be fairly thick, these need to be fairly substantial as well, not big, I think that's only 3mm. The dimensions, the width's not really important, it's however you want to make it. Mine's for, well, it's a 150mm vice, you could make one for any size. And the decent ones are about £80, 80 quid. I could buy one, but it's going to take me about half an hour to make this, maybe an hour, so that's what's happening. If you watch my videos, you probably know that I make a lot of my own tools for special jobs. You can once you've got a couple of particular tools, welder and a lathe. You can make pretty much anything with them too. I do buy a lot of tools, but when the price just doesn't seem to justify what it is, or I have to wait too long, yep, start fabricating. I've set it in the vise there with the bit of flat that I cut just to get the angle perpendicular. It's about halfway up the vise jaws, so the stress is in the right place. And I've got it slightly overlapping one side so that I can do multiple bends. That's the whole reason for making one of these in the first place. I've welded the ends on, both of them. I didn't even use any filler, I've not cleaned the weld scale off, I'm just going for done rather than nice. But it'll be solid enough for what I need, it really doesn't matter. This might take some filler though, I don't think I'm going to weld the full thing, there's no real need. Let's see how this goes. I always do some of my nicest welds when I don't bother prepping anything. Well, I decided to grind this off before I weld it on. Should be a bit easier that way. This needs to be quite a bit greater than 90 degrees. Doesn't need to be a sharp point, but it needs to be more than 90. And I'm probably going to try and grind a little bit out of this as well because of spring back. If you only bend something to 90 degrees, the bend you get out of it won't be 90 degrees. I can correct that by hand afterwards, but it should have a little bit of overbend in it just to get the 90. So we'll see what we can do. But yeah, this needs to be to a bit of a point to get a nice crisp edge. Now just crisping that edge up perfectly, get it nice and straight and square. Getting rid of any burrs. It's pretty good. That'll do me. Now I've got everything mounted in the vise, ready for the final weld on the mill side. While it's still a bit hot, make it look pretty. One, two, and all it's left to do is test it. Right, I've scribed a few lines on my panel and I'm going to try and bend it into shape. I should be able to line the line up with the end of the male side, yeah, pretty much. And then line up, make sure the panel's lined up properly. Looks pretty good. One was too shallow and all the others too much. It's pretty good though. Line that one up. And this is why you need space at the edge. In fact, it could have been deeper. I'll possibly do it from the other side. It'll work. And about that. And there we have it. It's not bad, that. Yep, pretty happy with that. That looks the part.